I think we've just gone full circle here. We've done as much draft talk as humanly possible for 25 minutes. The big question, the only remaining question. We are 6 days away from the NFL draft. Who the hell are the Steelers going to take at 17? Or who are they going to take at 7? Who, like, if you had to guess, like somebody who's like, hey, you get this correct, we'll give you $1 billion. 17, 32. Oh man, I want to say 49, but 49 is that's getting dangerous. I feel like at 49, anything could happen. 17, 32. You got any thoughts?
If I can hedge and pick one offensive player and one defensive player for 17, I thought about this when we were talking yesterday about potential topics for the pod. The last pod before the draft.
The last pod before. That's how close we are. Like I think that's the significance of this is when you texted me back last night and you were just like, yeah, I got no idea. I was like, we are from when the Pittsburgh Steelers pick, and that's how well they've done at just being like, we have nothing for you, nothing at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be real cliche, and I'm gonna say the defensive pick, if I had to guess, is gonna probably be Joey Porter Jr.
I saw that one coming.
I just think the NFL bloodlines, the press man skills, the size, he tested extremely well, probably better than anyone imagined.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's, we've checked all the boxes. They were at his pro day, formal visit at the combine, pre-draft visit. He was a local guy, so he didn't count, I guess, their top their 30s. But there's every box that we need checked really for a typical first round pick for the Steelers over the last decade or two. He checks every box.
Yep.
So he would be probably my best guess if I was to guess a defensive player. If I'm guessing an offensive player, I think that's where it gets really interesting because I don't know if Porter is going to be there at 17, but I think there's a decent chance. The guy that I feel like most confident is going to be there at 17, I think is going to be Darnell Wright.
Yeah,
and I'm not like, that probably is a little bit early for him, honestly. Like, I think in a perfect world, like everybody always says, like, trade back. Like, it takes two. Like, you got to have somebody willing to, like, who is someone else coming up to get? Like, that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. 17, if 17 is a dead zone for you, it's a dead zone for the entire NFL.
Well, yeah, it could be or maybe a scenario where somebody's coming up to get, I know like Hendon Hooker's getting like weird first round vibes right now.
True. Hendon Hooker could be the name. Will Levis could slide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe one of these quarterbacks fall. Who knows what happens, but I think that Darnell Wright, just when I look at, Pat Mayer, like his philosophy in terms of how he coaches the offensive line position, Andy Weidel, coming over from Philly, maybe them just trying to completely overhaul this offensive line and trying to, really give this offense an identity of just being some maulers up front. And I think Darnell Wright, like me, he fits that mold. Like he's a nasty dude. And, he checks a lot of the boxes, like the visits, the top 30s, he checks a lot of the boxes. So those would be my two best guesses. Just full disclosure, like I told you last night, I really have no idea. And this is the first time forever. I really was actually nervous because I think I've written up mock drafts the last 3 years. And I've only done 2 predicted mocks. Well, in the last 3 years, I've gotten at least 1 pick right. And I really want to continue that streak, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that this year just because I don't feel as good about the round 1, where they could be going. So I don't know.
They have just like you, every year on this beat, I've gotten somebody right. And for the most part, it's been the first round pick. Like I messed up last year, thought it was Malik Willis. Everybody thought it was Malik Willis. This year, I'm just like you, man. I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, there's a million different scenarios, and the teams in front of them could change everything. There's nobody that's going to be here that you're like, oh, well, that guy's going to be there at 17. It's like, maybe. I have no idea. All right. So my 2, I'll go 1 on each 2. I'm going to, man, like Joey Porter Jr. is the name. Obviously, he should remain the name. But I'm with you. Like, I just don't. I have such a hard time believing that this guy slides to 17, especially if Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon go like 6, 7. There's no way 10 more picks are going by and nobody's taking a corner. Like, that's just not going to happen. And I mean, maybe Deonte Banks passes these guys, but I don't know. I don't know. Joey Porter Jr. is probably the name. I'll stick with Joey Porter Jr. I'll go Joey Porter Jr. I'm not going to go Darnell Wright. I'm not going to go an offensive guy. I think the other guy is possibly Brian Brzee. I think that he's checked off all the boxes. You know, he matches that entire alignment. The Steelers have liked this guy since day one. There were like reports when the Kelee Ringo thing started to like really gain some steam. His name was out there too, like in that group of these are the two guys that the Steelers love. And we kind of just like ignored that one and just stuck with Ringo. So I think he's a possibility there at 17. Plus, I think he's going to be there at 17. Like, he's really the only guy that I'm like, well, he fits the value of 17. He'll probably be there at 17. There's just no like, where are you going to play him? Are you going to draft a guy at 17 to come off the bench behind Cam Hayward and Larry Ogunjobi? And what if Cam Hayward just plays forever? Because at this point, that's a real possibility. You know, I don't know when he's going to retire. 32 gets very interesting. So say they go both scenarios again. This is how we'll wrap this up here. You drafted Joey Porter Jr. or Darnell Wright at 17. Who's your guess at 32?
Man, that's tough.
Yeah. It's so tough.
I don't know. I can't really think about who they would take at 32. Like I said, I personally, if they could get Anton Harrison, if he was still on the board at 32,
Yeah.
I would be 100% on board with that. If they just swapped those positions.
Do you think that because I think the other way around here is probably Tyreek Stevenson at 32. Possibly.
Yeah, he would be a name on day 2. I personally haven't watched. I've watched like 3 games of Stevenson. I think 32 is early for him.
Early, like at the beginning of this, he was like a 42. Like he was like that Julius Brents range.
Yeah,
now
I
Taylor's
personally
leading
think
us on to
that's
think it's 17.
yeah. I personally think that's early. I'll say I'll stick with who I had mocked there last time or the first mock I did with Emmanuel Forbes. I think
Yeah, that's a good
Emmanuel
one.
Forbes, Keely Ringo, those 2 guys I think would be guys that they'd probably be interested in for different reasons if they were there at 32 and if they took, a tackle at
Yeah,
17.
Darnell Wright
So,
at 17. Where does what's Ringo's range? Because I think that's the name to watch in the second round, him and Stevenson. What's their range in your eyes? Like, where do you go? Will they be there? Do you think they could be there at 49?
mm, maybe
Ringo's a tough one.
Yeah, Ringo's a tough one because I think that it'll just depend. He's a guy that needs a lot of technical development, like little
Mhm.
stuff that needs to change with his technique. Um, it's I don't think he gets out of the top 50 because guys built like him with that type of
Mhm.
production that are 21 years old, that just though that type of profile typically goes in round 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this was
And
a
it's
normal
not
corner
like
class,
the
he's
tape was
top 15.
it's not like the tape was bad either.
Yeah.
Like even I broke him down to a lot, but even like when he gets beat on a play, like you can easily point to why that is. He
Yeah.
does have some deficiencies. I think he's a little bit tight. I don't think the change of direction skills are very good either. But in terms of like just being a bully and a linear athlete, the dude can freaking fly. Like I don't think he knows how fast he is, honestly, because he plays like he runs like a 4.5,
Yeah.
even though he's clearly a 4.3 guy,
Yeah.
even in pads. So, yeah, I don't know. I would be kind of surprised if he was there at 49, to be honest, though.
Yeah, 49 is an interesting spot for me because just like you said, like I could see both of them gone. But I also could see like 32 where they're stuck with a dilemma where maybe a guy like Flowers or Addison is sitting there as well. And they're like, oh, well, we did really like these guys. They probably carry more value at 32 than the other two. It's interesting. It's interesting. We are literally 6 days away. We just had a full 25-minute conversation about how the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have no idea where they're going in the NFL draft. That's interesting. That's a very exciting time. I will say this before we head out, the whole Jalen Carter stuff. I did a little digging, hit up a couple of people, that I know floating around the top 10, and the vibe is not. Actually, I got somebody who laughed at me, who said no shot. The vibe is not that the Steelers are going to have an opportunity to draft Jalen Carter, so we could scratch that one off. Unfortunately, it just feels like he's going at 5. That was the thing. It was just like, if he's not gone at 5, everybody behind them will be shocked. And then I talked to somebody with the Bear who covers the Bears, I should say, and they were a little they're definitely, I don't know. I don't know what the right word was, but their response was just like, well, they'd have to give up the house to come up to 9. And I'm like, I don't think you know who Omar Khan is or what they did to the Bears the last time. But okay, I get what you're saying here. So I think we could rule that one out, which just makes everything, I think, so much more difficult. So much more difficult. Draft night's gonna be excited though. Next time we talk, there will be a 17th pick, which is super exciting, actually. And we'll be talking about 32. And chances are we're both totally wrong, because that's typically what happens here. But that's what's fun about the NFL draft.